Sunday with SWOLA, everyone. Welcome. It's been a long time. It's actually not been a long time. It's just last Sunday, man. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Sunday with SWOLA83. Hello, everyone in the premiere. Hello. What the fuck was that? Everyone that's watching this on the premiere, Team No Sleep, look at this. There's finally some Team No Sleep merch for you right there. You can get it from olenglundshop.com. How about that? For a limited time only. Okay, so I know there's at least 5 people out there that want one of these t-shirts. They're available now, okay? Thank you. Also, have you checked out the new A2.6 and A2.7 Cannibalismo? So we've always had Cannibalismo in the 1 series. Now there's a 2 series, okay? How cool is that? I really love this 7-string right here. Right there. Pick Fro again. Where did you go? Where did you come from, Katanajo? Oh. Guys, thank you so much for watching Sunday with SWOLA83. We're gonna head straight into the news. Alright, so in the past week, James von Hetfield Hammett. Last week, Kirk von Hammett released a single from his solo project. Or it was actually a solo EP that got fully released a week ago on Record Store Day. Not sure how it went, because I haven't heard anything since I watched that single last week. Anyway, Kirk Hammett was pretty shocked that Metallica let him do a solo project. And we all know how it went for poor Jason Newsted when he wanted to do his side projects, you know, Corrosion and Conformity, and he also did this, what was it else? Oh, yes, Echo Brain. Echo Brain was the name of his band. You know, James Hetfield famously compared to cheating on your wife when doing side projects or, you know, other bands. With Kirk Hammett doing his solo career, it seems that maybe they've matured 25 years later, just saying. Maybe they're more open to the band members actually, you know, breaching out of Metallica and doing something else. I mean, it's not like Kirk Hammett's gonna leave Metallica, right? No? Someone has to play the wah in Metallica. It has to be Hammett. Von Hammett, everyone. I was also pretty shocked that I got the complete band's blessings on it. It was amazing because our band has not had a lot of great progress with band members going solo, as everyone knows. Everyone. But all that went down almost 20 years ago, and we're such different people now. We're all just older, wiser, and more mature. Well, maybe they also realized that Metallica is never gonna be trumped by many other metal bands. I mean, Metallica is basically the biggest metal band, Iron Maiden also, and there's nothing gonna compete with that. So there you go, Kirk Hammett. He was shocked. You guys remember that lady that peed on a guy on the stage? No? Well, let's bring it all up again. You know, Brass Against was the band name, and there was a movie of the lead singer peeing on a fan on stage. It was terrible, terrible. Also sparked a huge discussion in our Discord right now. If your woman would ask you to pee on her, would you do it? Personally, I would never pee on a woman. Just saying, it's very degrading. But I know there's other people out there that would. Back to the story. Well, Brass Against went on tour with Tool now. As they played their first show, they found a no pee zone sign on stage at their first tour date with Tool. It says, no pee zone, no urine is to be. Deposited, placed, distributed, sprinkled, poured, and or spread in this immediate area. Look at that. I mean, obviously this is Tool poking a little bit of fun on the opening act and band. In reality, I think she can pee wherever she wants, you know, as long as it's not on the fan's face. You know, that's actually very disgusting. Tool just rolled through Sweden last week, and you know, I complained before about the ticket prices for Tool. I didn't go. I thought it was too expensive. I just wanted to, you know, stand my ground. It was expensive. And maybe I was a little late on the ball as well, and I could probably get like shitty like tickets from on the other side of the arena behind a pillar or something for $100. But still, man, still expensive. Korn streams a new single, and I'm gonna play the song, but then we have to imagine what the song is like, okay? Because I just don't want to get demonetized, baby. This is the song Worst is on its way from the recent album Requiem? Is it called Requiem? Yeah, Requiem. I've talked about this album before, and what I like about it, you know, being a fan, I listened to the first 3 or 4 Korn albums, you know, up until Issues, I think. And listening to this new material and new album, it gives me a follow the leader type vibe to it, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Korn is also coming to Stockholm this summer. How do I get in touch with someone, management of Korn? If you're watching, let me know. I'm gonna reach out to everyone possible so I can get a coffee with Ola, with Monkey and Head. That would be so cool. Just saying. All right, Black Dahlia Murder. Trevor Strnad is doing some videos on OnlyFans with his girlfriend. Black Dahlia Murder, excellent death metal band, and that we with the Hammett played a couple of times with. Also, Trevor is a huge inspiration to me actually when it comes to lyrics, because his lyrics are amazing, basically. I've probably drawn a lot of inspiration from Trevor when I've written lyrics for Feared, for instance. Trevor is now branching out into OnlyFans, because why not? And the text goes like this. Fellow pervs, I may or may not be featured in a new couples video dropping on my girlfriend Cake Fart 6. What? Cake Fart 666. That's a great screen name, actually. Subscribe and like her newest post. And people have gone apeshit about this news. People want to see Trevor's dick in a vagina, I guess, which is kind of weird, no? A little weird? Do people really want to see a death metal singer's penis in a vagina? Or, you know, it makes me really happy that Trevor wants to support his girlfriend. I would do the exact same thing. The supporting part, though, by putting a wee-wee in a vajiji, that's, on video. Gives me a lot of ideas. Maybe OnlyFans. Hello, Ola fans. No. Okay, great. All right, Digitech and DOD set to return following acquisition by Court owner. So Digitech and DOD has been kind of, you know, not happening for the past couple of years. When I was with US Music, Randall and Washburn, when was this? 2015 maybe, at the end of my contracts there. They also had Digitech and DOD, owned the brand, but they sold it back then. And I remember that there was basically no new development happening at Digitech. So since then, nothing has happened. Basically, nothing has happened since then. Now Cor-Tek has purchased the brand, and hopefully we're gonna see some updates, because personally, I think there's a lot of really good Digitech pedals out there. I mean, Digitech with the whammy, for instance. They also did the drop and all that. And Digitech, man. There's some good Digitech delay pedals from back in the day that I like. So, you know, cool, man. I really hope that Cor-Tek takes care of this in a good way, okay? James Hetfield launches his first ever signature guitar strings with Ernie Ball. It's only taken 40 years for me to have my own strings. Come on! Just buy a house. It's easy. Okay, what is the set? Thank God that they wrote the set size just before we had to pay Guitar World for this. So the set size never before offered 11, 14, 18 with a plain string, 28, 38, 50. Wow. Never before offered, okay? Comes in a bright green metal tin with custom artwork designed by Hetfield himself. Well, there you go, look at that. I mean, 50 for the bottom string. Yeah, man. I mean, he needs that for that down picking, just saying. So there you go. Papa Head has a new set of strings. And last but not least, we're gonna watch Brady Bunch versus Danzig. It's a mashup, basically. It's not that bad, actually. That picture right there is nightmare fuel. I'm just saying. Whoa, damn, he's swole on this picture. And that, my friends, was the news. Unboxing with Ola. You know what this is? Do you recognize this type of thing right here? That's a typical Apple product thingamabob that you pull to open the box. Not too long ago, Apple released their Mac Studio, which is like a total Mac Mini. 3 years ago, I got a Mac Pro. And shortly after that was an Intel Mac Pro. And shortly after that, Apple announced their new own processors and graphic processors. Even though my Mac Pro is absolutely awesome, there's no denying that the new processing that they're using on the new Apple products is just so much better for the video editing and Logic. It's just catered towards Final Cut, which is my main program. So even my MacBook Air is sometimes even better at rendering stuff than my Mac Pro, which is, it's stupid. I actually got a very sick trade-in price for my Mac Pro. So I'm trading in my Mac Pro. Instead, I'm getting a Mac Studio, baby. Look at that. So it's just like the Mac Pro box that I have, but it's just very, very small.
That's what she said.
Take a look. Look at that. Look at that. There it is. Arrows. Ooh. That is nice. Look at that. Oh, it's cold. All right. Want to spray the cables right there? Damn, man, look at that. Let's try and... Oh. Whoops. That's not the way you're not supposed to rip it. It's supposed to be able to just come off like that. Look at that thing. Holy shit. Damn, man. It's so cold. I'm not sure we should power it up just now. I don't remember the exact specs, but I think it was the M1 Ultra processor, and it has like 64 core graphics processing. This is going to be the shit, man, for editing videos. Really, really happy. I mean, the size also, you can't really compete with the size. It's obviously not as modular as the Mac Pro, but you know what? Even though they say that the Mac Pro is very modular, there's not really anything you can put in that bullshit right there. So it is a little stupid. This, however, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to plugging it in. And there it is, man. There's the Mac Studio for you right there. And so far, I've been using it like 2 weeks now. I'm very, very happy with that piece of equipment right there. I did trade in my Mac Pro, and I was actually surprised of how much I would get for trade-in for the Mac Pro. I mean, the Mac Pro, I had it since 2019. The trade-in offer, I think, was probably because Apple wants you to switch to the M1s. The Mac Pro that I had was an Intel, so I think they probably gave more than they should have. So I could basically just trade in my Mac Pro and get this for the same, so I didn't have to pay anything, basically. The performance now in Final Cut Pro is absolutely amazing. I'm working way more seamless now in Final Cut Pro, and it just makes a lot of sense, man. If you're using Logic and Final Cut Pro, and that's basically all the apps that I use on a Mac, other than all the emails and all that stuff, but those are the heavy-duty apps that I use, then, I mean, the M1 Macs are just the shit. Now, if I wasn't tied to those apps at all, I'm not sure if this was worth it or not, but for what I'm doing, I'm just the perfect client for the Mac Studio and the M1s. It's just, it's just so fast, man, if you compare to how the Mac Pro was. The Mac Pro was great, but this is just another level right there. It's the evolution, man. And also cue the Apple hate. Put them in the comment section. Thank you so much. Please tell me how Apple is worthless, and maybe I'll read later, okay? Great. Album tips. It happens occasionally that I give out a tip of an album, or talk a little bit about an album. I'm not the best when it comes to updating myself with new releases and whatnot, but I implore you guys to check out the new Undeath. Holy shitballs. Is this right up my alley? It's just really old school death metal. And I knew about Undeath, but didn't really pay attention to them. Now they released a new album called It's Time to Rise from the Grave. I've been listening so much to this right now, I ordered a vinyl. What? Do people order vinyls? Well, they do. I just ordered one. It's an incredible album, man. If you're into 90s death metal, they're fucking amazing, okay? And you know, the sound and the production, it throws me back to the 90s as well. It has this, deep and dark, non-modern production to it. And that makes my heart very happy, okay? I like when it sounds shittier than modern recordings. It's not sounding shitty, it just doesn't sound modern. And in my opinion, modern productions, they can sound a little bit stale because they sound basically the same. This is a throwback, and I enjoy the out of this album. So there you go, album tip of the week. Undeath, it's time to rise from the grave. Oh, that didn't work. Guitar of the week, yeah. I'm not sure if you saw the latest Sunday with Ola or the one before it, that we started doing guitar of the week now. There's a lot of guitars in my vault that doesn't get any love. So I figured, let's give them some love in Sunday with Ola. So this is guitar of the week. I have something here that I haven't used that much, probably for one video ever. And it's the Strictly 7 Solar 8-string. And this is an absolute beast of an 8-string right here. So back in 2012, I was doing signature guitars with Strictly 7. Mainly 7 strings, but also 6 strings, because I was using 6 strings with 6 feet under. But one day when I was on tour in the US of A, I was in Ohio playing a gig there, and Jim, the guy, the owner of Strictly 7, came out and he had a gift with him. It was this. It was an 8-string guitar that apparently doesn't have a strap button knob. Yeah. And look at this beast, man. Look at that back. That's a floppy set. I mean, this hasn't been played in a long time, so it needs a tuning. But I'm gonna tell you about these pickups though. Look at this. These are the absolute first prototypes of an 8-string Duncan distortion right there. And they're in this guitar, the absolute first one. I tried these out for Seymour Duncan before they went into production. All right, should we just listen to that? That's a banana neck in the wrong direction right there. I don't know if you can see. Plugging it in. Can you give me a F sharp? Oh, close. So obviously some guitars need more love than others. I haven't touched this guitar in probably 7 years or something. It actually sounds really cool. That was not even on the, that was not bridge pickup, that was both pickups. Okay, so bridge pickup. Unfortunately, I can't play the other strings. They're all the same note. There we go. That's actually not too bad of a riff right there. Anyways, this guitar needs way more love than I have been giving it. So I think it's time for a routine checkup and maybe a little bit of a truss rod adjustment, because this right here.
Since you have a 8-string signature guitar, how much have you been using 8-string in your songwriting and touring?
I made about one full song of 8-string. It's a weird song. It's called Neverlasting, and I wrote it only because I had this guitar, I think. I do have an 8-string guitar song, and let's just play a snippet here at the end of this Guitar of the Week. Question of the day. I take the questions from my YouTube members. We have one from Mr. M. Fuck, hey Ola, what kind of setup you are using with all the mics you have when making a video? A gear testing, for example. The mics themselves you always name, but what about the interface for the mics, and is it Thunderbolt connected or what? The audio in your vids is basically always meant, and the cuts between the mics and the overall mix has been very well done every time so far. Thank you for the content, keep up the good work, my money. Thank you so much. That was a very nice thing to say about my video. So in general, I do let you guys know which microphones I use for a testing shit demo. I have told you about the interfaces I use, but I don't list them every time. So in this room, for instance, and for the past couple of years, I've been using Apogee stuff. Can you see this in this camera? No? Oh. So I've always used this as a base, which is the Apogee Ensemble interface, which is it's a Thunderbolt 2. It's been out for quite a while, and we're probably bound to see an updated Ensemble pretty soon. Just my slight guess. And in the other room where I try out guitars and amplifiers and stuff like that, I'm using my Apogee Element, which is another interface just like this. It's way more bare bones. It only has like the inputs on the front and all that, but it was an excellent extension for this in my latest office. And then now when we moved here, I split them up. So I have a Apogee Element set up in the other room and the Apogee Ensemble in this room. What I like about the Apogee stuff is that the DI signals sound really, really kick-ass. If you just record your guitar straight into the guitar input, it sounds ready to reamp. You don't need a DI box or anything. And as you can see, this one right here has 2 dedicated guitar inputs at the front. So I just plug it in. I don't have any gain. Gain is always on 0 when recording DI, and sounds kick-ass. Another cool thing about the Ensemble is that it has a guitar out as well, so it's very easy to reamp using this thing, and you don't really need a reamp box. It sounds really good, just reamping from the guitar out on this unit. Sometimes just having it simpler like this, just shorter signal paths, it just makes it sound better in the end results. All right, so that was Sunday with Ola for you right there. I hope you enjoyed it. Sunday with Ola Riff Challenge. You can download the drums from the intro, make your own riffs, upload to YouTube, and I might check you out in the Ola Englund Contender live stream that happens tomorrow, okay? But that's from last week's drums. So if you download the drums in this video that's happening right now, we will check out the contributions next Monday, okay? On Ola Englund channel number 2. With that said, hope you enjoyed this Sunday. Remember, Team No Sleep, olaenglundshop.com. Taking care of business, baby. What's up? Oh, there's a camera over there. I always forget about that camera. Hello. How you doing? All right, guys, have a great day. Goodbye.